This is a nearly vegetarian household, but somehow I have the feeling that we are going to break the rules today. Hi, this is Luisa Heinzel. Welcome to this video. Please don't run away. I will not eat these bunnies. I just want to cut them up into strips because I want to make some really grungy and tattered collage strips today. If you want to craft along with me, then take out your paper trimmer and perhaps some grungy mediums like matte photo paper in combination with oxide inks, oxide sprays, spray stains, distress inks, coffee, normal paper with acrylic paint or whatever you like. I want to try something today which is, to be honest, a bit scary. Not only because of cutting the bunnies up, but I have never done that before. But well, this is already grunge. But I had this idea after I made these collage strips. I think you have seen this video approximately 2 weeks ago or so on my channel. I will again link it down below for you so that you can check that out. I have named this video something like the easiest collage strips ever because I made these with some digital paper, some lace and some other bits and pieces I had laying around, but in a really, really easy way. And I want to take that method for today's video as well. But this style of these collage strips, what a word, are not matching my journal because I want to have collage strips for my Tattered Bunny Collage Book junk journal, and these are some of the pages from my digital paper, which is also called Tattered Bunny Collage Book. And I want to try something that we can use this method and this idea behind it, but at the same time I want to change the style of these, not only the theme. Here we have these insects. Can you see these little insects? And these on some of them there are these little photos, but for this I want to have the bunnies and another style. Does that make sense? Hopefully. What I'm doing here is part of my Tattered Bunny Collage Book series. You can find a playlist in the description box of this video. And if you follow my channel already, you have already seen a journal. And that is the journal I'm just making. So this is like a time travel for you, because I'm filming these videos while I'm making the journal. And in my paper premiere, where I have shown you the papers I have used and which are new in my shop, there you have already seen the finished journal, or let's say the journal in a condition like 2 or 3 days after printing the printables. Well, perhaps even a little bit more, because I have filmed in between, yeah, but if I wouldn't have filmed these videos, then it would be approximately the stage after 2 or 3 days after printing the papers and collecting everything and then, you know, making the journal. And now I want to show you some things I have done so that you can see how it was made. So I'm thinking here we could perhaps take some stamps. This looks weird because I've just picked this up from my sink where I have cleaned it, because I used these for the last video where we made these collage fodder flowers, and there I had these stamps as well. So if you want to see that video, then please check out the playlist. This set is called French Garden CMS 487. I also have the wildflowers here. That set has the number CMS 253. Both are by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. I want to take some oxide ink. Let's perhaps try scorched timber so that this whole thing hopefully doesn't come out too orange. While I'm making this, I'm, to be honest, a little bit struggling with the colors of the journal. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I will find a way to make everything work later, but everything is pretty orange at the moment. So that is because of the fact that this is photo paper. And that's also why I can make this really, really wet, even if I have printed with an inkjet printer to this paper. And now I can press this in here. So that is a similar idea to what we have made with the... Oh, say it. Louisa, just say it. With the collage for the flowers. I'm so sorry. But here I've now used the ink pad, and I can tell you that I don't like that so much. So we need to change the plan. I thought when I use my ink pad, why is that now? I have expected a way more rusty, not color-wise, but style-wise impression. It is probably because I need to re-ink this ink pad. I will quickly do that, but we can also use the spray. I will quickly take my re-inker and make this a little more juicy, and then we can go on. Now the stuff there has to soak into the ink pad, so while I had this here, I thought, let's try this little trick. Let's just do it like we did it yesterday and outline the stamp. If you want to see this stuff in detail, then please watch the other video. I will not go into detail about the stamping technique here today, because that would be probably way too much for such a video. And yesterday's, no, not yesterday's. For me it was yesterday, but the other video with the collage flowers is also pretty long, because it's a masterclass. Yeah, and I want to have nice results here without freaking out, without the need of waiting forever. And that's why I do it like this. And if you don't have photo paper and oxide inks, just take what you have and please just experiment and yeah, make this grungy like you normally would do it. Or if you have never made such a grungy thing, then it's the same thing. Take out your stamps and just play around, because that is the way you can find out the coolest things. Perhaps we can also take a little bit of the re-inker. And I take this because it's so intense. And then it makes these crazy effects. You could do that with the oxide spray, of course, as well. And if my ink pad was juicy enough, it would also work. We will also throw on some frayed burlap oxide spray. So then we take this and put this aside to dry. Let's then take this more neutral half of one of the pages. And for this, I want to have a little bit more orange. So since this is photo paper, I'm going to use walnut stain.
Pages stained with coffee, edges torn with care, each mark a memory still lingering there. A bunny.
I'm going to let this dry on the side as well. So then I'm going to take this little thing here so that I can throw my scraps in here, because these I want to, yeah, manipulate now a little bit more aggressively. I take a few of them, do it like this. I pay attention that they don't tear or so. I mean, if that would happen, that's not the end of the world, but you know. we take our water spray bottle and make these pretty wet first. Then I have still a bit of my Scotch Timber refiller here on the side. Can you see it there? I don't want to waste that, so I just throw that on here. Now I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes, like approximately 5 or 10 minutes. Now I want to take some coffee. This is just, you know, this instant coffee. This is absolutely terrible if you think about drinking this. I can't recommend that. But we will not drink it. We will just throw some of that into some water. Because coffee, and especially this instant coffee, can also make really, really cool effects. I will separate this stuff here because I don't want to have the coffee on all of these scraps. So this is now approximately the half of the scraps. Then I take something, what can we take for that? Perhaps this, just this cap here, and I put that there under this thing. So this is now in an angle because I want to, what is the word? Float? I think I said that wrong. You know, I want to just throw that on here so that there's really a lot of that, so that it can soak in there. I will leave this in here for, you know, an unspecific amount of time. And then we have these here. And I'm just thinking, I want to throw something on here, but I'm not so sure yet what. I'm just thinking about speckled egg oxide spray. Let's just try that. I mean, if we don't like these scraps later, then we can use them for something else. Let's just spritz a little bit on here. Then add a little bit of water. Or, ooh, perhaps we can also take the rest of our coffee here. Oh, yes. Oh, that is good. Oh, I like that. Perhaps like so. Okay, so let's separate this even more. And since this looks so nice, let's try some Shabby Shutters oxide spray if I can find it. Because this is really cool with this, just this tiny bit of blue. And this is also pretty intense, as you can see, but I'm hoping when I do this exactly like here with the coffee, then this could perhaps be nice. And now, what shall we do next? Now we take our heat tool and try to dry these in here. While I'm drying these here, I just got an idea, because when I touch them, I can feel that they are not completely dry yet. I also turn them around here like so, like stirring them a little bit. But I just thought, if I want to have this really grungy and tattered look, why don't I stop drying while these are still a little bit damp? I'm not talking about wet, but damp. I can't show that in the camera, but I know, I'm sure you know the difference between wet and damp. So these are, you know, nearly dry now. So then I also take these. These I need to dry now completely, otherwise I can't cut them into strips. I will quickly do that. Ooh, we could even think about tearing them with a ruler. I mean, why not? Because then we can get a really cool edge here as well. Oh, why haven't I thought about that earlier? Ah, why haven't I done that with these? Ah, okay. No, it is what it is. Oh no. Okay. This is collage photo now. Louise, what are you doing? I mean, there's this saying, you can do junk journaling without thinking. Don't overthink the things. But sometimes I think thinking is not so bad. Sometimes it really helps. Okay. And then let's choose a paper where we want to glue them, I mean the strips, down now, because that is how I want to make my strips. So let's take perhaps this page. Here's this red as well. And also here. I think 3 is going to be enough for the moment. So then I'm going to take this. This is DIN A4. That is the paper size we usually use in Europe. This is comparable to US letter size. So if you want to have this and you print this on your US letter size paper, which is also of course possible, then you could do the same trick, because then the proportion of your strips and this is the same. That's no difference if you use this or US letter size paper. If you fold something in half, then you have the half of the size. Do you know what I mean? So I tear this in half. I will quickly do that with both of the other sheets as well. And I want to have my collage strips in the end in this size. So that is then the half of this half, so a quarter of the page. So I fold it like so, but I only do that I can see where the middle is. For the sake of the video, I will just take some ink so that you can see that better in the camera. But if you would do this at home, it would be not necessary, I think, to do this. I mean, it can be a help if you can't see the fold so well, but in this case, I just do that so that you can see where the half is, because I want to try something. I said I want to change the style of the collage strips, and I don't want to have such a tidy rectangle. I want that my things are peeking out here and that it looks really, 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 really tattered. But I also want to do this in a really simple and easy way. So what I'm going to do is I take some bookbinders glue and I put that from, well, let me zoom in so that you can see that better. I put that from here, so not on the very edge, to approximately here. This is now a centimeter away from this thing, and here on the other side as well. So that then later on, every strip I glue on here now is glued down only from here to here and from here to here. And when we then take it apart later here, we have 2 collage strips from this one sheet where the ends are loose. In theory. Then we are going to take this, and do we now, yes, we do it like so. We glue that over the whole thing because we know that here in the middle there's no glue. So that means it should be possible to later on separate this. Perhaps I should do one first and then see if it really works, but let's see. So then I do the same thing with the glue, take another of these strips and I let these overlap a little bit for some reasons. Here I want to leave a little bit of the paper now. I mean the base paper, so that we can see that through there. I think that looks really interesting. And let's leave a little bit of the red here as well. I'm really not so sure if I will like this in the end, but we will see. It looks really weird at the moment. But let's hope that that is just the ugly stage of this. And to be honest, in the camera, that looks way better than in reality. I don't know why that is, but it's a fact. Well, let's see. So then we have this. And now, let's think about the damp paper. I will go to my sewing machine now. That is not necessary, but I think that will make this whole thing look even cooler. So if you have a sewing machine, you could consider sewing now. If you don't have a sewing machine, don't freak out. Just, you know, leave it like it is and just use glue. I will sew a little bit. I will try to get that really irregular, and then I will be back. So here I'm back. I paid attention to the edges here. They are still a little bit loose. I mean, with loose, I mean, this will not fall apart, but I have not sewn over these edges here where the paper ends. I just thought, if you are not in the need of filming such a thing, then you could even do this whole thing without any glue, because it's obviously a little bit dangerous to sew this while the paper and the glue are not completely dry. But if only the paper was damp and you would use no glue, just take this stuff and the base paper to your sewing machine, then there would be absolutely no problem, because this little bit of moisture, I guess, can't ruin your sewing machine. But with the wet glue, it was sometimes a little bit hard to sew over here. So when I do these here, I will definitely take them to my sewing machine and just sew over these, just place them and sew, and, you know, then the next one, sew, and so on. That even saves some time, and then I don't have this danger to ruin my sewing machine with the wet glue. But what I want to try now is I want to take a sanding disc, sandpaper, and I want to go over this and use this here as an advantage. And I'm hoping that because the paper is damp, it tears somehow. So what I want to do is I want to destroy this. Not completely, but, you know, so that it somehow, yeah, look, this is what I was looking for, so that it looks really destroyed. And if I now sand over my sewing, and when it then gets a little bit destroyed there as well, that is no problem, because also with these loose pieces we get here now, we can always put the tiniest bit of glue on here later to make sure that that can't fall apart or tear off. But I will not worry about that in this stage. You could also take washi tape or cello tape or whatever and glue that down. This sandpaper is not rough enough. I have this here. Hopefully that works a little bit faster. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And this is better for some fine sanding. I really like the sanding disc, but for this thing we need a little bit more aggression, I would say. Shall we then also add some washi tape? I think so. So here we go. I think I will take some from here. These are the Ideology washi tapes. And then I found some in my stash where I can't really tell you where I got them. I think I bought them locally. I'm not so sure, but I think these colors fit really well. And since I will sew over this whole thing again later, I will not use additional glue here now. I mean washi tape, you know, that sticks not so well by itself, at least not over a longer period of time. So I will just put that on here, and later when I sew over here, I will pay attention that I also sew through the washi tape so that it then sticks really well. not sticks, sorry. It's attached really well. I think this is already enough for my taste. This looks already really good. So I will leave this like it is. And then, shall we first tear it apart, or shall we first add some fabric, lace, ribbon, and so on? I think we will add this first, then we can better imagine how the whole thing will look. I found this ribbon here and I thought that is the perfect match. I will put small pieces of this on here now. And for the others I want to make, I will do that on my sewing machine. Yeah. So here for the video I glue this down, but that's only because I can't take you with me to my sewing machine at the moment because of some technical problems here with my camera. Otherwise I would take you to my sewing machine with the camera, but as I said, that's not possible at the moment, and because of that I do it like so. But for the others I will take these pieces and I will sew them on here, because for me that is easier and faster.
In the corner, sketched in faded black, its ears are bent, its fur has cracks, pressed between the layers, a life unfolds.
Here on the back I can still see where I have made this fold, so I tear in here, and now this keeps falling off. Okay, it doesn't want that to be there. And now it should be possible to, after we have torn in here, to either tear or cut through this. I'm not so sure what the best way is to do this, but it needs to be somehow the middle, but not so regular, but also not completely destroyed. And when I compare what I had in my mind before starting doing this and when I see this now, it's a little bit different. In the most cases, that is good. Look, this is exactly what I wanted to have. Note to myself, if you take your crafting really serious, then make sure that you don't go to the toilet in between of making things, that you don't make coffee, and that you don't get distracted by strange emails, because then it could happen that you forget one really important step and later on you freak out. In the meantime, I have all of these, but I totally forgot, after I had glued on the paper, to sand the stuff, and I accidentally have put on the fabric and then realized that I wanted to sand this. So my tip for you is, please make sure that if you want to have this sanded effect, that you do that before adding the fabric, because then later on, when you have the fabric already here, it's so hard to get in these little slots here and sand that. That is a disaster. But I think I got them pretty matchy now. and this is what I now have, and I really, really like these portions of the bunnies in between. This will probably not stay like it is, but I already love it really, really much. Also, that when you do it like so, that you can see these loose layers. That is something I really enjoy. I have already also inked and, yeah, how do you say that? Coffeed the edges. I will quickly show you how I did that. And there, when I did that, I also came to another idea, which you can already see here. I think that makes a really huge difference to have this darker frame around here. So let's quickly do that on this one, which I have saved for showing you how I did that. So I have taken such a blending tool. You can of course take a bigger one. I only have this small one here at hand, and then I have taken my Scotch Timber oxide ink pad and I went around here, and yes, pretty aggressively, so that this here happens automatically, so that we don't need to spend time to bend this by hand, because you know it automatically gets there where it wants to get. That gives multiple options for future ideas, because you can then of course think about stapling these pieces, you know, then that looks additionally cool. What does this want to do? Perhaps like this, yeah. Especially when you have something like this, which looks really cool for a grungy and really tattered journal. But this is obviously also a little bit fragile now, because, you know, when this is in the journal and you flip through the journal, it could happen that this tears off. So I would probably take a stapler later and just staple that down. Or you can also, of course, take some glue. I also left the threads from my sewing pretty long. I think that fits the theme of this journal also really well. And when I say this journal, I feel really weird because I have not a single page yet, but only ephemera and collage fodder. But, well, and even ephemera is perhaps a little bit like, you know, a word which is too big for what I have. But I then took here my splatter brush. You could also take a normal brush, obviously. And then I just went around with my coffee here like so. And now I have to think about the direction. These collage strips will later on become pockets, belly bands. I will perhaps also cut them in half, like so, or perhaps I will tear them. But when I add something on here now, I want to make sure that on those where the bunnies are, I have the right direction. And that is for me in this orientation. And that it is not like so. Well, that would be, well, if we would turn this into a pocket, let's say we do it like so, and then we have a little pocket, then this would still be okay for me. But what I would find really weird is if the bunny would be upside down. I mean, you could do that, and perhaps for such a, well, you know, I am always trying to think out of the box, and perhaps we should even consider doing this upside down. Let's try that. Let's put, which is the one I've just inked? That is this one. This is pretty wet still, so I will put that aside. Let's take this one and let's just try it out to do it upside down. Why not? I mean, why not? So then what I want to do is I want to first look into my little drawer with the snippets and also the one with the labels we made. You can find videos about the labels and the snippets in the playlist linked below this video. There I show you how I made that. And now, where's my glue? Shall we try to glue this on very spontaneously and without thinking? What a funny joke. So, let's see. I think that is not possible. Let me first take one of these. This is already a combination of the labels and the snippets in the snippet video. I have tried that out, how it will look when I combine both of these little pieces, or kinds of pieces, sorts of pieces, I don't know. And perhaps it's a good idea. Look, that is the easiest way. That is the easiest way, when we first make these little cluster thingies and then we can put them there. Because then we automatically get a cool arrangement with these things. I mean, isn't that easy? That is, I mean, I'm a little bit confused because it seems to be so easy. The only problem I have is I think, only made 3 of these arrangements yet. So I need more, but holy cow. To be honest, I'm pretty surprised how well that fits now. Oh, okay, so we will do something else first. We will put these aside for a second. And then let's take, how many do we need? Well, we need a few more for the other collage strips as well. So let's take out some of these labels. Perhaps we make a few at a time, and then if we need more, we can still make more. So then I will really try to now just glue them together without thinking, and that is so hard for me.
A tattered bunny collage book where stories are told. Oh, listen to that tattered, fluffy bunny, a raggedy witness of time that no one took. Ephemera of love, decay, and grace. Whispers of a childhood rhyme, collage pieces of my soul. Soft companions through time, touch their fur, feel the warmth they make. It's a bond you can't forsake. Worn ledger sheets and sepia tones, postage stamps from places I've never known. Rusty paper clips hold secrets tight, a letter from an Easter's night. There's lace from a dress that never fit right, and pressed violets that lost their fight. The bunny watches with its stitched up stick.
But perhaps it would also be good to not overload these things with those of the clusters which have the animals, because this is like a focal point here. So let's try something. Let's try to put only one animal to such a strip, and let's add then more with the snippets and the labels where no animals are, which are more neutral. I think that is not the baddest idea. And then I also want to include some of these snippets separately without the labels. So I will first glue these, which I already have here, down, and then I will randomly add some of the snippets.
Tattered bunny collage book where stories are told. Oh, listen to that tattered, fluffy bunny, a raggedy witness of time that no one took. Ephemera of love, decay, and grace. Whispers of a childhood rhyme, collage pieces of my soul. Soft companions through time, touch their fur, feel the warmth they make. It's a bond you can't forsake. ledger sheets and sepia tones, postage stamps from places I've never known. Rusty paper clips hold secrets tight, a letter from an Easter's night. There's lace from a dress that never fit right, and pressed
Okay, so here we go. I still have some of these collage strips left over on the other side of the table, and I will then later on off camera do the same thing and add my little pieces here so that those are then also ready for the journal. And I'm really hoping that you like this idea. Perhaps you want to try this out, and perhaps we should also add some splatters. No, I will I will do that when I put these in the journal, because then I can better see which color of splatters I want to use. I would first think that gold would match really well, but I want to see that in the context of the journal, so I will not splatter now. But you could of course do that if you already exactly know about the colors in your journal. Perhaps you also have made your journal first and then these, and you already have the pages bound in the journal. Then you could obviously decide way easier than I can here now which color you want to use for the splatters. But I have not a single page yet, but only my tiny pieces. But that already makes me really happy. So thanks for watching, and see you the next time. Bye bye.